I'm super excited to introduce you to Isaiah Olateru. I first met Isaiah when I supported the province in the deployment of their lean government. I went in to do an audit myself and one of my colleagues, and Isaiah then took over the role as the lean deployment lead within the province of Nova Scotia.
Pleased that you're on the program. Really am. Yeah.
And thank you very much, Gary. And I'll also say this, that I feel very humbled and quite honored to be a part of this this journey with you. And I know you've got loads of experience in this space, and I look up to you. And so this is an opportunity to, drive by your side as we explore the different issues and the landscape that is the world of continuous improvement.
The topic for today that I wanted to there's lots of topics I want to talk to you about, by the way, over the course. This is hopefully the first of lots of opportunities for us to have discussions. But the one I want to talk about today is that whole resistance to change.
And so I was at Caterpillar until 2016, January of 2016, when I moved to Canada, so from the United States to Canada, and joined the province, again, in a transformation role with a department within the province before going across departments, lean government. So my Caterpillar experience, I was a practitioner. My starting point was someone that knew nothing about really continuous improvement or the systems, methodologies, or tools that drive it, into being introduced into it as a young engineer and being excited, oh, wow, this is something cool. And the magic of my tenure at Caterpillar was being inserted into a successful transformation from wanting to be an organization that is client-centric, known for operational efficiency. There was something we called the Caterpillar Production System, CPS, to an organization that had it embedded as a way of life by the time I was exiting in 2016. So having front row seats, first as observer, and then, as I'll say, novice practitioner I became, a black belt eventually, having a full-time role in that space in a prime product group in Decatur, Illinois, and then getting what we call my lean masters. So, and seeing how an organization as large as Caterpillar executed it, I think it's a very unique lesson that I realize not a lot of people get that dimension of a lesson, being inserted in it, being given the tools to be a part of it, that prepared me to then lead it when I moved to Canada. And I'll always say was the seed to whatever successes I saw in the realm of, whether deploying it at an enterprise level, but most importantly, overcoming resistance to change, which is kind of a key theme when you're thinking about human systems. I mean, from an overcoming resistance perspective, Gary, before I even go into tools, I typically will zoom out and ask the question, why are we doing this? And why is the organization doing this? Why did the province of Nova Scotia in 2015 come up with something called a lean government mandate before I even arrived here in Canada? And connecting that why to a burning platform that resonates with the employees, the public servants in that situation, and translating that to the headline of whatever we call the program. I've always said that if there was something I'll recommend we do over again, is maybe we shouldn't have called it lean program, lean government, because no one really cares about lean for itself or whatever methodology or agile. People care about, how can we be very responsive to citizens? How can we improve citizen experience or client experience? How can we make sure that our processes are streamlined? And so, how can we make sure that, taxes in the public sector are not outpacing income? And make sure that, government is running efficiently enough to where we don't have to keep raising taxes beyond, typical inflation rate or cost of living. those are the things people are sensitive to. So whatever we name the program needs to kind of take on that why.
So when you talk about strategic alignment, I often think of the start with why, right? Do you remember Simon Sinek's book? He talks about start with why, the importance of starting with why. And I was thinking about, as you were talking about that, how critical that is when it comes to managing resistance, right? If people understand the why, then they're less likely to be resistant. You would concur, agree?
Oh yeah, I've seen that play out several times. And I talked about critical levers. I think that articulating that why in a way that's true to them
Mm,
is one of the most critical levers in overcoming resistance. So the key qualifier being in a way that's true to them. If you present a burning platform that, you know what, person A in the organization doesn't see it as a burning platform, they cannot relate to it, there's still going to be questions. And so, but there are things that everyone can say, yeah, that's a problem. Wouldn't it be nice for us to overcome it? Yeah, that becomes a qualifier to the why that drives and binds the buying. And when you look at some of this improvement systems, and I know there's Agile, there's Lean Six Sigma. Actually, funny you talked about it. I commented on a post on LinkedIn on Friday on Ocean Cannery, which is kind of the strategy deployment piece
Yeah.
of the Lean system. And there's a very respected practitioner, kind of a leader in the space that I follow, Karen Martin, who kind of made a post about it. And I posed a question to Karen Martin, to get kind of our experience in those Ocean Cannery, which is called strategy deployment. And the concept of there's a piece of strategy deployment that's called catchball.
Catchball, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And that catchball is a way to not cascade. Cascade is pushing something down,
Right.
but design an agile system where you're getting feedback across every level of the organization, up and down, down and up, in co-developing strategy.
Yeah.
It's really a different way of developing strategy, and it's actually a cultural shift. And my hunch was that, and there was conversation around many organizations are not patient enough for it. And I was asking, why do you think so? Is it because it's perceived to take longer?
Right.
And there were several other reasons. But the point I'm trying to make is that if you're deploying a continuous improvement culture, there is a reason why these systems have this methodologies and tools inserted in it, because it's been tested and know that these methodologies like strategy deployment are keys to success. And the how we do it is probably more important than what we're doing. And so making sure that frontline staff and having the tools and the approach to engage frontline staff is designed into the way we do business. In this case, into the way we design strategy becomes critical to success and becomes a clear symptom and evidence of inclusion by design rather than inclusion by posters or emails or speak.
This is where we talk about the counter to intuitiveness of the lean thinking, right? Is that you slow down to speed up, right? And if you think about what catchball is and Ocean Cannery is, it's about making sure you engage all the stakeholders, to reduce resistance, because when you don't have resistance, it's like anything. You're going to go a lot smoother and a lot faster. You're going to speed up. So if you can slow the resistance, if you can manage that resistance up front by having this engaged up and down deployment of the strategic plan and the actions associated with those strategic plans, you're definitely going to have a much stronger and faster, and to your point, more agile deployment of those goals, which is really important.
Yeah, the final thing I'll just touch on is when we think about overcoming resistance to change, and this is something I learned over time, is to ask yourself as a change leader, or someone, responsible for this deployment, in my case, later on in my career, what is my role in the resistance? Do I have any role I'm playing in turning up resistance? And be very honest with yourself about that. Again, it's easy to tell other people to change or to continuously improve, but it could be quite insightful to have an accountability system that also shines the light on you and say, okay, what am I doing and how am I doing it? I always say this, that most people that are successful at leading and navigating resistance to change, the change is aimed at a cause that benefits the whole, number one. It's driven by a competent leader with credibility, not just technical credibility, but emotional intelligence, EQ credibility. And then there is a third dimension, which comes back to what role do you play? How are you changing? Or what needs to change in you? Is that most people that successfully lead this change, they typically take a very critical personal risk. And that risk is tied to their own personal change and learning. And so there is a wide range of what that risk can look like. In reality, I will always advise when people, and I've had the pleasure of mentoring a few people that have gone on to lead this kind of work in private sector. And I ask them if the key to success at any point in your deployment is that you step down as the leader, that you're the one that needs to change. And what change looks like for you is to step down so that the next kind of leader can take over. A, will you be able to recognize that moment? And B, beyond recognition, will you have the courage to follow through?
Yeah, great. Really, really, really strong, reflective, self-reflective questions, very powerful questions that leaders need to ask is when is the right time to change the roles. And I totally agree. All right, so if people want to get a hold of you, and those of you who are viewing, hopefully if you've enjoyed the conversation that I've had with Isaiah, that you'll hit the like button and subscribe to future episodes. But how do people get a hold of you if they need to get a hold of you, Isaiah?
I mean, I'm on LinkedIn, Isaiah Olateru. So last name is Olateru. Just connect with me on LinkedIn or search for 100 Exponential on LinkedIn. That's my organization. The number 100, letter X, exponential. Yeah, and so
I'll make sure that that's in the description. So those of you, you'll see a little bio of Isaiah in the description. You'll see that his LinkedIn is there and his exponential organization website link is there as well. So again, Isaiah, thank you so much for your time today, and I hope we have lots more like this. I really do.
Yeah, no, thank you. Always a great time, Gary. Having a chat with you and learning from you, and playing catchball mentally, and so it's great. Yeah,
Mental catchball. I love it.
Yeah,
What a way to sign out on.